so now that you know how to do basic math functions with fractions, we're going to keep moving along and discuss a couple of other things you need to know before you can move on to the drill. So the next thing you need to know how to do with fractions is converting a mixed number into an improper fraction. So just to review, a mixed number is a number that has a whole number and a fraction. And as you remember from our calculations discussion, this is really just another way of saying 4 plus 7/8. Now, if we want to convert that into an improper fraction, which just means that you have a numerator that is bigger than the denominator on the bottom, what we're going to do, which is a total throwback to 4th grade for you, is we're going to multiply the denominator times the whole number, and then we're going to add the numerator to that. And so if we do that, we get 8 times 4, which is 32, plus 7, which is 39, and that becomes our numerator. The denominator stays the same, so we just bring that 8 over, and that is your answer. Moving on to the next one, we have 2 and 3/16, so we multiply 2 times 16 to get 32. Then we add 3, and that is our numerator, 35, and then we keep the bottom the same at 16. Our last mixed number is 5 and 7/9. So we're going to multiply that together, add the 7. So 9 times 5 is 45, plus 7 is 52, and then we put the 9 on the bottom. So that's just something which is another way of helping you out by typing it into your calculator. So if you don't want to type this into your calculator as 4 plus 7/8, you can convert it and then type it in. So whichever is your preference, this is just another way of doing mixed numbers. Then the other thing that I just want to refresh with you is when you square a fraction. A lot of people forget that when you square a fraction, you have to square the top and the bottom. So 3/5 squared is the same thing as writing 3 squared over 5 squared, which then would become 9 over 25. So just because the square is closer to the 3 doesn't mean you can forget about the 5. That entire fraction has to be squared. Then the last thing that I want to discuss with you before you get to go on and do the drill, which I know you're so excited for, is fractional part. Now, fractional part is something that the SAT likes to make really complicated, but it's actually a very intuitive process that I'm sure you guys know exactly how to do on your own. So, if you have a fractional part question like the one on your packet, it says, if Johnny is running a 4-lap race and has completed 1 lap, what fractional part of the race remains? So by doing that, if we have 4 laps at the start, and he's completed 1 lap, we know that Johnny now has 3 laps to go, but if they're asking us what fractional part of the race remains, we have 3 laps out of 4 laps. So he has 3/4 of the race left. So most likely, you were probably able to do that really fast on your own. What the SAT likes to do with fractional part questions is screw with your head a little bit, and they'll give you numbers here that aren't so nice as 4 and 1, but they'll give you stuff like 5 and then 7/8. So once you introduce a fraction into a fractional part question, it gets really complicated and your brain kind of freaks out a bit. But if you just follow the same basic process that you did on this question, on complicated questions with fractions, you'll always end up with the right answer. So just to recap, fractional part, you take the total amount to start out with, you subtract whatever has been completed, and that tells you how much is left. Then to get the fractional part, you divide however much is left by the total, and that is your answer.